I'm just going to have two quick questions for you, which are directly for myself, and then we can have a little break, and then we're going to move into questions from you guys. So my first question is, if you ever have a chance to move back in time, go in a time machine, and meet another archery coach, live with them, let's say, for a certain amount of time, which part of the world and time would you like to travel to? And unfortunately, you only can choose one.
Well, I would definitely go to Hungary. I would like to see the Battle of the Pozderka, 907. I would like to see that because that must have been fascinating to see, and I really want to know if they were using thumb ring or not.
Take a picture, bring it back to people.
I need to know.
Show it to Kasai.
I must know this.
Show it back to Kasai.
Kosha is very interesting because
it is big. For first thing, we need to say
he's the one who started the three-finger
horse shooting.
Yeah, but there is a reason why the man is using.
He doesn't have a thumb.
He doesn't have a thumb, so he can't.
But most of the styles, and even people in Poland, they do shoot with three fingers on a horse, putting the arrow through, and it looks very flawless and very easy to do on the horse.
With a 30-pound bow.
I was just about to say that, and the people they always get very upset when I say it, but that's like my problem. I'm not gonna say problem with horse archery is that actually it works. Like many things works with low, low poundage.
But we know that for a fact. These horse archers are using at least 80 to 100 pound bows on the back of the horse, on a galloping horse, either for hunting or for battle. And if you do that, and if you use the partial shot, which is, you turn back, your arrow can fall off because your arrow is on. If
and we're also talking about sharp broadheads through the hands.
There's a reason why you're using a thumb release, because when you're using a thumb release, you're actually holding the arrow against the bow. So when you turn around, it can fall.
You can shoot upside down.
I can't picture back in the day any archery cultures using Mediterranean release. But that's just me. It's not I can't prove it, but I can't picture that being any other way.
Traveling back in time, you would.
Yeah, if I could go back in time, definitely I would like to go back to the year of 907. That's where I want to go. And I want to see that 40,000 horse archers.
That would be something amazing.
In a bubble where I can get hurt, so I can only observe. But yeah, I would definitely like to see that.
That's great answer. I'm definitely going to look more into these battles here.
There are a couple of YouTube videos available. You can actually see.
Maybe we can put the link in the video description underneath. So
yeah, it could be in Hungarian, but you're gonna.
And the second question is, if you ever wanted to meet another archer, who would that be? It's a living person, I'm afraid. We won't be able to go back in time. Like any archer, a person shooting a bow or a boyer that you would like to meet.
Who then?
Because we already know, you told me that you met some Japanese boyer when you were making some Yumi bows. So would you like to meet someone in the world of archery? Like say for today and go out to shoot, or maybe even learn more about horn making.
Horn bow making, that's easier question. I would love to meet Adam Klarkowicz from Canada. I would love to meet him.
Which is a Polish guy.
His name is Polish. I think he's originally from Poland, but he wrote the horn bow making book actually. Yes. He did the research by himself, and I would love to meet him.
And I think he went to Turkey to examine some of the cross sections of the bows and stuff.
Yes, he did, and basically, if he hasn't done that research, I wouldn't be able to build the horn.
So this is the person for you to meet.
Yeah, because I was following his footsteps.
Fantastic.
So it was all
great
written
answer.
down,
Great answer.
And definitely I would love to meet him. Yeah, definitely. But
let's hope. No.
One more person. One more. Yeah, if I can pick one more.
You can. Only with traveling back in time, you're allowed to magic ticket. Here you can just.
Okay, traveling back in time, going.
You would like to go and see going?
Yeah.
I'm going to add this to the because probably
going, because I read the book. It's not his book, obviously. It was written by the two guys from California.
Correct.
But I just like, his style. Not the two guys who translated it, but the going. I'm sure you read that book. It's very arrogant, and I find that quite fascinating. Being that arrogant. and he lived in a time when archery was actually war.
War. Yeah.
So
it depended. It was life dependent skill.
So I would love to meet him too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely interesting character from what you're saying. Being very to the point and very. From the book, if you guys haven't read The Way of Archery, the way he was describing people flamboyantly shooting bows with low poundage or with the incorrect technique, we would know those archers would not last until they lose their,
But
it's a very good approach actually to archery itself. And I think no matter what style of archery you do, you can make a lot from that kind of mindset that he had. Especially when he injured one side of the body and moved to the other side of the body, and he noticed that he didn't have many of the bad habits that he had before because he started shooting
ambidextrous way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going.
Yeah, I also, if the time machine is still functioning, I would like to go to Istanbul to see the flight shooting they did there. In the Ottoman Empire. I would love to see that as well. Maybe the Battle of Lepanto as well in 1570.
Now we're gonna just move on and after 3 hours long video. So we're just gonna have a little break, so I'll make sure that everything is recording correctly, grab a sip of water, and then we're just gonna move on to your questions, guys, which is a lot of them. We're just gonna cut down to the few more interesting because some of them were already answered down in our conversation. Sure. So we see you in a minute, guys. Guys, welcome back after a little break, but it was a very interesting chat about the hornbows and Robert's journey with hornbow making, ball making, thumb shooting, and how he found his Hungarian heritage, the way to open up to the world of archery. Now it's time for questions from you guys, the people from the group. UK-based group directly to Robert. So Sahel, one of the guys probably you met at the shoot, which unfortunately is leaving us to Thailand and he's going to shoot anymore. And I believe he has some of your bows in his collection. And he asked, "What is the
fun in Thailand?
In Thailand on the beach.
Enjoy.
Farewell." What is the heaviest bow you ever created?
Laminated or horn?
Doesn't specify, so we can do both.
9,500 pound at 28, measured at 28 inches.
That's 28.
Yeah.
And for both horn and lamination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who has these bows now?
Nobody. I cut them up. I cut the laminated one up. I didn't give it out to anyone.
Okay. I have Rob's bow that is 100 the max draw they can, and it's still going strong.
That's 31, measured at 31 or 32.
31 is 91.
Right.
So, but it is over 2,000 hours right now.
Yeah.
It's just it's going strong. And how long? Oh, that's an interesting question. How long did the bow last if one is to use almost daily? So I guess it's referring to lamination.
Lamination.
Bows that you made.
Okay. Making a 100-pound bow measured at 28 inches is hard work. Just to say that, because when I'm making the bows, I have to draw these bows like quite a few times. So me personally, I get really tired. I have to have a day off after that if I really draw like
There's
that.
not many people in the world that can make laminated bows in this poundage anyway.
It's difficult. You need the fiberglass. Just can't really take it that much. So it's a difficult task. That's why I never actually saw that bow, and I just cut it up at the end.
I think the question doesn't actually refer to the heavy bow, it's just the overall, when you make the bow, how long they last, you reckon, daily? When people say with hornbows they can last the generations, do we have any expectations on the lamination of the bows, how do they last?
Unfortunately, the question is like how long is a piece of string? So it's difficult to answer what type of bow we're talking about, because if you're talking about a Turkish bow, or you're talking about a Tatar bow, or let's say a Mongolian
bow. So your design plays a big part on the longevity of the bow.
And also the pondage, what sort of arrow you're using with it.
So it's a complicated question.
What type of string you have on that bow.
Really? Even that
because if you have a fast fly string on it, you might reuse the lifetime of the bow. Because the fast flight is not stretching. It stops the bow.
That's why I embrace it. Some people move to different type of strings just to reduce, to move. Well, give the bow extra lifetime.
Yeah, I use BCI strings on my bows, but Decrans are fine too. I mean, fast flight is fine too, but again, depends what sort of.
So that question can be answered.
And also, what is your draw length? because that adds extra strain.
So let's say people who use the bow all the time to the max draw, and people who draw to 28, well, that's 32, probably that would last longer, I guess, rather than the bow that used to the max.
There's a guy, I'm not too sure he's a part of this group, Gordon Monahan. He's Dartmoor Archery. I mean, he's using the bows on a daily basis, and he's not shooting 10 or 15 arrows a day.
Hundreds.
He's using
and they're
over
still strong.
hundreds, and he's still using those Raider bows. And I know when I give him a bow for testing, he's actually like smoking it.
Yeah.
The strings are just weak, or I need a new string because he just shoots that.
Through them.
I mean,
so they can last. I mean, it's worth to say that well-made laminated bow will last a long time.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, if it's
properly
well made,
used,
yeah, properly and with a decent archer.
And is it stringing plays a big part in longevity of the bow, or it's just a matter of
the string is also important.
Stringing,
but yeah,
when people
string.
brace them.
Yes, because that is the most dangerous moment of a bow's life: stringing and unstringing. Because most of the time, once you have the string on the bow, nothing's gonna happen. I mean, laminated bows, you can have them, have the string on them indefinite all the time. You don't have to take it off if you don't.
I was just another question. If you leave them string for a long period of time, the same temperature, it shouldn't not.
No, but some.
Would they reduce the poundage of it?
No,
if it's
not
strong?
on laminated bows. I mean, horn bows, yes, but laminated bows, no. Laminated synthetic bows, they don't matter. I got a bow outside in my workshop.
Oh, it's strong.
I strung that a year and a half ago. And
So why would some people say it's a good practice to strang the bow? Transportation, maybe the main reason be?
Well, I mean, if you store it at home and you want to take the string off, then it's fine. But I just have one outside strung all the time.
For me personally, is the shape. I really love.
You love the shape, yeah.
Unstrung bow shape. It really is something that has a big.
Well, I just have that bow in the corner, so when I go out shooting, I just pick it up and
Okay. Let's move to another question
Yeah.
from Usman. Usman asked Robert, do you have particular favorite style of the bow you like to shoot?
Tatar bow.
So Tatar.
Yeah,
Tatar
Tatar.
bow is your favorite. I
Tatar
think you
bow is-
mentioned it at
yeah.
the beginning of the
Yeah.
video. We just put it into
I
quotes.
love all shape of bows. I'm a bow fan, just like you guys. But my personal favorite is definitely the Tatar shape. Tatar shape bow.
Okay. And the question from Taha, which you met at the show,
Yeah.
it is a very cool question actually. Which part of the bow making process do you enjoy the most, and which part do you hate?
Very good question. Thank you very much. I love gluing the bow. I love that. I absolutely love gluing the bow, and I don't like cutting the pieces like the saya and the riser and all the
Getting them
pieces,
ready.
getting them ready for gluing. But that's not my favorite part, and I don't fancy sanding that much.
Okay.
But gluing, I absolutely love the gluing part because I can listen to the radio while I'm doing it.
Another question from Richard. Richard,
Yes.
this is very good. Do you fancy a pint?
Mate, I love to.
I mean, this should be the first questions we ever come across. Let's have a look all the rest of the comments.
Well, let's hope the next gathering will be, like a
If it's
2
gonna-
days
2 days
gathering or
shoot,
something,
yeah.
and then we can all sit down and.
I mean, the good thing about it is we're so busy shooting that I think more people want to start into chatting.
Get to know
exchange
each other
and experience and show what they
And
have.
I mean, we don't necessarily have to have a pint because I'm sure some people don't drink, but we still
have
can,
have a cup of tea together.
yeah, something. I mean, I'm happy to have a pint with anyone.
Okay, question from Jed, which you also met at the shoot,
Yes, yeah,
which is
yeah.
very, I think is also got some bows of your collection. Would you consider making a Mongolian style bow, either early or late period?
I made one already. It's called the Khan. It's
Actually, that's a very good. That's a very good answer. I mean, what you
But the
probably-
shape of the bow, if you look at the shape, it's the Chagat Khan. The Chagat.
So it's
Khan,
based on another example.
based on the Mongolian finding.
I think even the name indicates a bit that there's a Khan bow.
It's a
inspiration
conquest
and,
era.
yeah.
The Chagat Khan is a conquest era Mongol bow when the Mongols were on conquest in the
I need to give you
first
one
century.
thing. That's the Khan bow that you have. Maybe we should just show one here.
Yeah.
If you don't mind,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
grabbing
yeah.
one quickly. What's most impressive about me? when I first received this bow was the handle. The handle and the arrow pass so narrow, but so, I mean, I normally go with the bow feel, not, with my preference, but many people said when they see me shooting this bow, especially at 100 pounds, the way it bends, I never seen with this 113 or 14 centimeter string, a laminated bow that will bend actually like a horn bow. When you look at the picture of full draw, no matter what other manufacturer bow look like, I think I didn't know until now that you had spent so much time in your life making horn bows, but I think this bow shows your past of horn bow.
Well, yeah, that's the main goal for me personally, to duplicate what how the horn bows were bending. And well, just back to the shape of this bow, the outside shape on the if you just look at the belly side, it's based on the Chagat card bow shape, but this bow is a fantasy bow at the end of the day, because the way I changed a couple of things on it, but the shape and the way it bends, that's how.
Have you ever, when you were designing this bow, concentrated on actually making some of these features to be a performer, to be fast, to be durable? Or
I mean, I know people. I have read it myself. People, we are speed freaks, but we're talking about really 5-10 feet per second difference here. So it's
I think not, people will gain less with better form than with.
The way to achieve that shape, what you were just mentioning a minute ago, is what you need to do is you need to taper the limbs, mid limbs.
Yes.
So basically, if you would have a caliper here and you could take measurements here, you would notice it goes down at the center here. This is where it's thinnest, and they start thickening up again.
That's what gives this amazing bend.
Yeah, yes.
That's really cool.
But with that,
because I'm sure I don't want to say it on the camera, I'm sure I bended it more than it should bend, and still.
That's fine. That's fine, because it should take it, because you've got a stabilizing material on the back, so that takes the load. But if you're talking about laminated bows, which that question didn't come up, but I'm just gonna say it. The most area of the bow, any laminated bow, is the most stressed area is the back here. So when you're drawing it, when you're pulling it, that if it breaks, it's going to break here.
I think it's going to break here,
and the danger zones are always here at the riser, where the riser joins the.
So we don't have many problems around the Kazan's here.
This is the second area here. The second area here, because this, once you glued it together, it just tries to break itself. So the boyer is trying to stop that, but once, because you're forcing the fiberglass into different shape, because it's just flat. Yeah. So basically, you when you're making a bow, you're giving this amazing shape, but it's only keeping the shape because of the glue is holding it together. Okay. And you basically, when you're making a laminated bow, you need to cook it basically.
What moment at the time you had a Turkish bow in your making, and the Tatar bow, which of course are very Ottoman style bows. What decided you to go that way, to go to this type of?
Very good question. The reason why I went this way is because 10 years ago there were lots of options, but now when you look at the market, it's not many dragons left to slay.
Correct.
So this. Literally all the dragons are killed now.
We have many manufacturers making bows,
so you must have a Turkish bow, you must have a Tatar bow,
in your assortment.
Well, as a bower, when you're trying to make something new, it's difficult to find, and lots of fantasy bows out there, lots called this and that.
But this is a fantasy though. I mean, it's. And probably viewers can have would like to hear in the comments about this. I don't think there is bow like this on the market.
That's why I made it, because as you try to
differentiate yourself.
Try to find the dragon, Try to find the dragon. So.
I'm really impressed. Really impressed.
So one more quite interesting thing about this design is, so you have this. I don't know if you can see this, but the riser ends here, and the limb section is only this short here.
Very short bending.
And the limb. Yeah, the bending section, the limb section is actually shorter here than the Kazan and the tip.
Crazy.
So that's actually longer than.
For me, it looks like some sort of Mughal section with this type of.
So you can see the Mughal bending in it as well, the way that the shape as the Mughal bows are bending. and also the Mongol design as well. Because the Mongols in the 12th century, when they started making these conquest era bows, what they done, if you look at horn bows, all they done is they had this, like on the Magyar bow, the long saya, because the Magyars also in the 9th, 10th century, on the other bow what we had here, it had a slightly bent tip area
tip was
here.
towards.
So what they done, what the bowyer done is they just grabbed this area and turned it over, and that's how they glued it on.
Oh.
And then you had this.
Crazy.
So it's just, you know, bowyers were trying to make different things, and
I think that answered your question, Jack.
Yeah.
So the medallion style bow is mainly this inspired. The second question is, am I reading this correctly? Have you ever farted in a lift and blamed others?
No, I haven't, but I've been in a lift with someone.
I think, when was the last time you've been in a lift? That was just another thing.
That was a while ago.
When you worked in the office.
No, actually, I've been in a lift today because I was in a car park and.
Well, this.
I'm
not going to force Robert to answer this question, but all right. Next one is from our fellow Thumbshooter, Kang Sum, which is probably in a minority of people shooting Manchu bows, and he's asking if you ever consider making a Manchu bow and what obstacles preventing you from making one. What do you think are the challenges will be different from making other bows? And I just want to add a little thing to this question because it's a very interesting question, because not many, when you say the dragon is to be found, I don't think we found the manufacturer who can produce a laminated version of a Manchu bow that actually will have accurate proportions, or even weight is the biggest problem I think here with laminated bows, Manchu bows. I haven't found one, and many people asking these questions, and people would like to see more Manchu laminations. Yes, because the laminations we have, even in Marina, they do the Qing Dragon bow, which we spoke to Peter Deck about it. It's more of a sporty version of the bow, not as the war Manchu that we think with a huge brace height and a very, you know, big, basically it's a big bow. And of course, when it comes to hornbow making, Peter said himself, it's art that got lost in the process. But have you ever considered making a Manchu bow?
Well, never say never.
So there you go. You might be the lucky one for you.
I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna make it, but I haven't really considered it yet, because.
Do you reckon there'll be obstacles making one?
Well, the obstacles are mainly not many people are interested, as far as I know, to make one, and going head to head with the Chinese manufacturers. I'm gonna look into the comments, say it now. Going head to head against the Chinese manufacturers is very difficult, because I can't match their prices, and people always, you know, they just get it half price from China. I personally, I had a Chinese design bow before. I had one called the General. I don't know if any of you have that or had it.
I had few pictures seen it. Was it like a Ming inspired?
That bow was probably one of the most successful bow designs I ever made. One of the best bows I ever made. I started making them in 2017. I made them in 2018. I barely had any interest, because
they were amazing bows.
Yeah, because you could buy that bow half price from China, and people just did that. So when you decide on a design, there are many lovely designs, or what's economical, what's gonna work.
So let's say you can answer the main thing. It would be a niche market for you to get it into.
Like I said, I'm never gonna say, don't say never. So I don't know. I haven't decided on it yet. It's not on at the moment. I'm working on something else right now.
I think that answers the questions very lovely. Thank you very much. It was very good questions, and we will draw more into Manchu archery soon. Another question from Fasal. Can we find out when the Turkish Solak will be available and what price?
Yeah, the Turkish bow is not gone. The Solak is not gone. It's around. I'm not taking any orders at the moment.
I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, because the Solak is an important bow to me, and I love the Solak, and it's coming back. I'm just making a facelift design on the bow, redesigning, reworking it. I'm going to be introducing new materials on it.
So it's in the development stage. You want to make it better.
Yes, it will be better. Same as the Khan. So because the Solak was a laminated bow, it did not use the same technology like the Khan and the Raider, because these bows, they have stabilizing materials on the belly side, and I did not have that on the Solak.
At the time, yeah.
No, the Solak just had a stable core in it, but the stable core is not the same as the stabilizing material. On the,
so the guys, the Solak is still there?
It's coming, it's coming.
Back.
The plan is by the end of this year. I can't guarantee that, but I'm working on it. But I have another project coming out before that, and I'm working on that. And once that's released, then I'm going to be focusing on
and we're going to be
Solak.
seeing three product lines then.
Well, you're going to see something which comes out very soon, and by the end of the year, the Solak. So it's going to be 4 bows on offer, 4 different bows. Yeah.
I'm not going to push into what it is, and just get people guessing. Oh yeah, this is on a similar question from Pat. Will be there another specifically Turkish bow, either a Solak Mark II or a new name or lightning? So I was just going to put that together with the question before, and we had already a question about the bow making process. There's a question which probably doesn't need answering because it's a question from Ibrahim, who met in the show and said would love to hear about the story how Robert got into bow making, if he learned or took inspiration from another bow makers, what his favorite archery culture and why. That I think has already been answered. And if he has any cool archery plans for the future, whenever it's been new bow design or taking up certain forms of archery. I think also this question has been answered because we already know Rob will really try mounted riding horses. And,
that's on my to-do list, definitely.
And the cool archery plans for the future, I think we already heard that Solak is in redevelopment to making it even better.
Yes.
So I think that question. Do you have anything else to add to this one?
No.
Okay, and then I think I have a question from Christopher Baker, which is as long as my page, which I probably already read yesterday.
Yeah, I read it, yeah. But some of those questions were answered too, I believe.
Yes. I'm just trying to find something pretty interesting.
He had very good ones, I remember. He had really good questions. Important ones, actually.
Yeah, I mean, how you got into life story. I mean, this is sort of also why we come here in the first place to find out, because what I feel is nice about the group itself, that actually for us thumbshooters in UK and people who are in a very niche market, and there's only a few of us, to have a bowyer with based in the same country, especially now with the Brexit and stuff and imports and everything's being a mess. Having someone here with it really helps. It really helps us, and the amount of people I've seen at the shop with your bows, I was impressed how popular they are. And I even know that people getting them that shoot 3 fingers and they still shoot your bows. Probably how many? Oh, that's a good question for me. How many of your customers actually are only thumb shooters from the bows you
I would say 80% are thumb shooters. 80% are thumb shooters.
I'm still surprised. I thought you were going to be saying more like 50-50.
No, surprisingly, a lot of them are thumb shooters, and some of them I don't know, what style they use, because that doesn't always come up. But quite a few of them, because I've seen photos and they told me I know they are thumb shooters. So there's a lot more thumb shooters around than you actually think. A lot more. And
but you're going to say new
no.
gaining popularity,
I personally know a lot more thumb shooters who are in this area here around Manchu, who are not in the group yet. Yeah.
Let's hope we can.
Because they are not on Facebook.
Yeah, this is something we're also working on, how to open up this more as maybe as an organization, so people can shoot together, and nobody is on social media. Some people, so
I could name at least 4 or 5 now, who are around here and not in the group.
Let's get them in.
I will bring them.
Invite them to the.
I will bring them to the shoot or ask them.
I'm trying to get through some of these questions that Christopher asked, and Christopher, some of them were already probably answered, and you'll be satisfied if you were going to be watching this from the start about your archery journey. How did it started? And he was also asking about the Manchu and what's another bow design. That's another question about which bows. What archery do you normally practice? That's also a question you've answered. Okay, if you could ask thumb throw archers to consider doing something else or to try doing something in a different way, what would it be?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to pick on anyone, you know. How
I think it's like an overall question,
but,
but we see people do it mostly
yeah,
wrong. I think that's what this question.
Myself,
maybe it's directed directly to Chris, but
I'm not a great archer, so I don't really wanna, you know, tell anyone how to shoot. But one thing I sometimes I really wanna say something when I Kotra is something, you know, what everybody wants to try, but it's very few can actually execute it.
I agree with this.
Because Kotra is something, it has to be done in the exact right moment when the arrow is actually leaving the string. That's the exact moment when
if it's even done half a second later.
So if it is not executed in the right moment, in the right way, then it's pointless. It's a pointless thing, and if someone sees you doing that, and that person is a seasoned archer, he will have an opinion about you straight away. So because you can see it on YouTube, not just YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. You know, people trying it, and they try to do the Kotra before they develop themselves to be a decent archer.
This is season 4.
Because you need to start walking before you start running.
And I think this is a very good thing. I never actually touched this topic before, but this is an excellent example of if in archery technique Kotra will be a black belt, let's say, in the archery process that you go for. But so you have to fix your bow arm, fix your release, you know, fix your posture, and then maybe you can add some other stuff.
I personally, I tried doing it, but I was reading the Going book as well, and Going is strictly against these things.
I think mainly because of complexity of the topic itself.
There's so many other things you need to worry about.
There's so many things that, this is the thing, people concerned about Kotra, by having so many things wrong with the form, that extra thing they do, it doesn't really help them do the archery better. Because on the other hand, you need to ask yourself, if this is a war-related scenario, you don't want to make yourself shots harder for yourself. Or to... I
mean, it looks good, and it's been proven, you know, it actually can add speed, but do you
it's
actually...
It's been proven now even with the slow motion cameras.
It looks amazing. I mean, when I watch, there's an archer called Mihai Kozmai, I don't know if you...
Yes, of course.
If you watch his old videos like a couple of years ago, he used to live in Hungary actually. He was in the barn. I remember I watched his video like 10 years ago or even more. And
even more, I think. It's like a 20-year-old, 20 years journey with horse archery.
He was just in winter time. I remember with a candle or a torch. I don't even know what he had there, and just a hay bale, and he was just doing it all night, and he was just practicing, and if someone can do the Kotra, that's him. That man can do that.
He understands it.
I mean, obviously, once you know, archery becomes like your nature, you know, part of you, then you can focus on this.
I think
I'm not there yet.
I think this approach is more of a martial art approach to archery, when people as occasional hobbies don't have, because I find the same with war shooting and military shooting. It's the same. You really have to, like Mihai maybe said, spend a lot of time, you know, development and understanding actually what you're doing.
You have to put the time in it.
So this is a great answer to the question.
Kotra, you need to put the time in it, and I think you need to start
walking
before you start running.
I think what you're trying to say maybe is coming out of my mouth, that you just look silly trying to do something that...
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that, but...
I've seen many on YouTube, but even you don't need to go to slow down motion of the video. The people actually make a shot and then the arrow's gone and they do something with the ball.
That's just
to be honest, we don't mind what you do with it. You can just do whatever that pleases you. But then also,
I don't mean to, you know, criticize anyone. This question just came up, and that was the answer came to my mind. So that's why
it's a great answer to a really good question, Christopher. So thank you very much.
It could bring up, you know, other, you know, like arguments. I don't mean to argue. It's just you know, I think Kotra should be done in a proper way, and if the arrow left the bow, is no need to rip it.
Rip it off, yes. So great. I mean, majority of the questions, they can keep coming back with kind of the same, you know, storyline and your new products. And maybe one question for me, I can use. Do you have a favorite style of rings you used? If you really experimented with many rings, have you ever tried maybe Manchu ring?
Very good. Yeah, excellent question. I think 12 years ago I bought a plastic Korean ring. That was the
female
first.
ring without the normal gauge
Just
ring.
normal,
Female ring,
yeah.
yes.
And I started using that ring, and I think it's cracked already, but I'm still using that. But in the meantime, I was Vermeil Archery's dealer in this country.
Distributor of the product.
So I have all their rings, and I tried that. I sold their rings, fantastic rings, but somehow that Korean ring just fits my finger on a perfect way.
So fits over the.
So I never
switch it from.
Never, tried. I mean, I tried, but never changed permanently to any other ring. It's just a cheap plastic ring I have.
Have you ever tried Manchu ring?
No. Speaking of rings, Manchu rings, the Ingo Simon collection has quite, few of these jade.
The decorative rings.
Yeah, even with the box and everything,
yes.
and
they were kind of like a status.
It's really worth visiting the Ingo Simon collection. So once it's open, we can try to arrange a visit there.
That'd be awesome.
Because Tom brings even Turkish flight arrows.
Another thing. I think I've seen them Turkish flight arrows.
Yeah, and they have Manchu bows there. Not one.
We just probably need to find out what kind of group size of people they will be able to accommodate. Let's think about
the Ingo Simon collection is not too big, maybe 4 or 5, but we have to speak to the curator first.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
So maybe little proposal here, just a proposal, nothing confirmed. Maybe we can on our next competition, maybe draw lottery and people can win the tickets.
We can arrange several visits.
Several visits if need to be.
Of
course, the travel is involved, but which we're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna see it, it's something you're gonna be really interested and love it if you get in there. I mean, show me one other place. I don't know any other museum where they let you touch the balls without gloves.
That's actually true.
I don't know any other rest.
Not even those weapons and everything like that.
I mean, this is not on public display. This is
in archives in the back.
Yeah, in the back.
Room,
yeah. So
room.
you have to go in a secret way, and so it gives you the like you are an important person straight away. But yeah, I mean they let us touch the balls there. We could actually take them off from the wall. I mean they have them in big cabinets with even the humidity is controlled, the temperature, everything.
Course,
so it's like a big safe. So you get them out and they actually touch them and measure them, weigh them. Yeah, beautiful. I mean you can't string them, but still you can examine the balls. So for me as a boyer, it's like a treasury.
Great.
To visit.
That'd be a very interesting place to visit for sure. Maybe just the last question before we just go to the end of the summarization of this will be question directly from myself. Is it any archery culture that you haven't discovered enough or you wanted to know more about?
I made a Yumi bow before and but I never really got into it, the Yumi archery. That's something is interesting to me. I like it. I like the look of it, but never tried it. I have a Yumi bow myself, but never actually got into Yumi.
So you want to explore archery. More of a Japanese style?
Yeah, well, it's just I mean any archery. I'm really interested in any sort of archery.
But is it mainly as
the Yabusame, the horse.
That's the horse
fantastic. Yeah. And I like that they're not just galloping with the horse; they're going for it properly.
Super speed.
Yeah, very speedy. Because here in Europe, if you watch competitions, they just some of them the Koshai style. I think they just go slow. And if you look at the Mongols or the Japanese, they just really full speed going for it.
And also the modern, if we want to talk a little bit, maybe just a minute or two about modern horseback archery. It orientates so much about the speed in between shots, like certain they have targets and just how quickly you're gonna get these arrows out. But in a war kind of scenario, when the shot probably was counted as a very important, and it's like with a rifle, we have a certain amount of bullets in there. You need to make sure that bullet counts.
With a 100-pound bow, you're not gonna be doing speed shooting because with a 100-pound bow, you're gonna be naked in a minute.
And also, it's not that easy as people think to shoot these.
No, I mean, longbow, Ojin core 14, 15. they were not speed shooting with that. They were just 10-15 meters away.
Or not
straight
volley
off.
firing, yes.
Yeah.
Especially
So-
they had to shoot against probably one of the best armor around in the world, so the
Well,
shot has to count.
Well, there's a lot of debate going on about this. This is going off topic now, but
It did a bit
but,
it is.
but at Agincourt, as far as we know, all the arrows had iron gold
Yes.
heads, and the French knights, they were all wearing plate armor, and we all know that iron never gonna pierce the plate, but you can knock the guy down. So that's what they done.
Most
They
of the
knocked him
actually
down.
wounds happened through the visors that were lifted up. So if you think about 15th century helmets for the Agincourt, it would have a visor that could be lifted. So in the melee, when there's loads of stuff going on, soldiers decided to lift the helmet on.
Some
and most
did,
of the
but-
arrows injuries
Well,
happened.
what they
you know,
done is
through
they
the
fell in the
fires.
mud. They couldn't get back up because the suction on the mud and
The
everything.
mud.
But
It was
we
very
really-
strategically well won battle.
Well, we really
but,
went off topic.
Let's
man.
leave it off the topic, yes. But thank you very much, Robert. I
Yeah.
think it was a very interesting episode.
Thank you
We
very
went
much.
through bow making,
Yeah.
history of how you started it, and we've seen some of the bows you made in the past. And I hope we can people who want to meet Robert in person, please come to the next shoot. I'm sure Robert
Yeah,
will
I'll
be
be there. Yeah,
For
and
2 days we can have more chats overnight.
and
over
hopefully
a
the
cup
new
of
bow
tea.
will be out by that point. I don't know when the meeting will be.
We
around.
haven't announced the date yet
Right.
because we still want to find
Yeah.
a place for
Yeah.
2 days, but also we want to open up the flight shoot, the roving, the shooting at distances rather than the usual target shooting that most of the people are used to. So I think we deserve it after all this pandemic and all. I think we deserve it. to
Can
be
we
out.
add cloud shooting to it? At least just a little bit. Just a little
We
bit.
can definitely open a cloud competition shoot. Actually, that's a good one because the main problem we have at the moment is if we find a field, we might have to use all natural arrows because the field will be so much. So any of the leftover arrows will have to stay there, will have to be wood or carbon. So we have to give you enough time, guys, to making sure you come equipped with the decent amount of arrows because, of course, they break or they get lost most of the time. But yeah, that is something that Robert's going to be attending next time, which hopefully 2 days shoot come in springtime, guys, so we can enjoy the weather a bit more. But Robert, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you very
time. I
much.
think everybody's going to enjoy, and also hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And we just see you on to the next time, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.